Kid Flash. Girl kitty, girl kitty, girl kitty, girl kitty, girl kitty, girl kitty, girl kitty. Girl kitty, girl kitty, girl kitty, girl kitty, girl kitty, girl kitty.
It's your show, I miss. So why don't you like television?
Watch me now.
You got my attention. You got my attention.
Hey guys, you're here with the Testing
Testing
Queens.
Queens.
Today we have a special guest with us, Joshua. He's here to talk a little bit about his paternity journey. How's it going today, Joshua?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
That's good. Thank you so much for coming and doing this interview with us. We actually would like to inform people of ways that we have to give paternity testing. And we thought that you coming on and giving your story would be perfect for people to kind of get some insight into why our services is needed in the community.
Right, I understand.
So, how old were you when you had your first question of paternity?
Well, I would have to say my first paternity scare came around the age of 19, and I was in a place. I was in college, and I was working a job at the same time, and this was a big step in my life. I mean, it was a game changer.
Can you tell us a little bit about where the situation was around the mother, you and the mother?
Well, me and the mother, we had a pretty nice relationship. I mean, it wasn't too toxic or anything. We just it didn't work out after finding out the deceitfulness of her and me not being the father.
So, what kind of emotions came on then? What were you really feeling on the inside?
I had to say when I got the letter of doom, I would say. I actually was I mean, a piece of my heart left that day. I mean, I was a father one moment and the next moment I wasn't. And that was after 3 years of being in the child's life. And I was like big on being a good father to this child, and I had changed some things in my life. It put me in another place, and when I got that news, it was like you're father one day and the next you're not. So it kind of stripped me of some of those qualities I had gained and knowing that I'm a father. So being attached and me having my family attached to the child.
Right.
It's funny how you say the letter of doom, because it's almost like when you got these results back, it became, instead of an informative letter, it became the letter of doom. So
I
what
want
made
to
it the letter of
elaborate
doom?
on that one because I would say the emotions that was involved. I mean, here I am, a young adolescent ready for the world, and I now am taking on fatherhood, and I have this extra push and this extra go at my self-esteem, and everything is risen. I'm daddy.
So you saw it as a positive
Yes,
intro into a
when I
different
first
stage of
found
life.
out, I was not like mad or nothing. I was just like I was okay with it. And when I got the news that I wasn't, it kind of like put me in a place. Just
How old was the child when you got the news that you were not the father?
The child was maybe 3 and 7 months.
That's pretty old.
Yeah.
Yes.
So why wasn't the test taken earlier? What took it to be the child was almost 4 years old before the test? If you can elaborate on that a little bit and
I want to
how
say
attached
a
you became.
lot of things. I mean, maybe like out of me having respect for the woman involved. I didn't want to embarrass her or towards her or her family members. I also had older relatives in my family that just say, "Hey, that's yours. Look at it. Look, it looks just like you. I mean, that's your child. Look at that."
So we know looks can be deceiving.
You're definitely
If you
right.
grew up in our generation, we know Maury was very popular. And Maury has taught us, even though he has retired, he taught us that looks can be very deceiving.
Well, I mean, there was one incident when I couldn't say like I didn't understand, but I asked the baby a question. I don't know if it was able to really like understand me, but I said, "Who's your daddy?" and the baby looked everywhere else around the room but me at me, and that was
Wow.
like a hint or
Wow.
kind of maybe,
Mhm.
am I this child's father for real? You know?
Wow.
So I'm blown away at this story. How attached was your family to the child? We're talking about over 3 years. The child was a part of your life.
Yes, I want to say he was the first grandkid of the family, would have been.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, my first son would have been my first son, you
Mhm.
know. So the attachment was there, and then and even in a delayed factor, it stayed, it remained,
It
it
still
didn't
remained.
go away after I got the paternity test.
Yes.
But things just flew out with time and died down. But my family was still in the child's life, like even
Right.
years after the fact.
I have one question to ask you. So, after everything was said and done, and you found out, how has the relationship been between you and the mother of the child? Did you all come to an agreement?
Well, the thing that actually I would say pushed the whole paternity test was her putting me on child support. So I mean, it was her fault, I guess. If had she not have done that, I would still been taking care of the kid, thinking it was mine.
Right.
But when
So you were already paying child support for this child.
I was, and the test and the paternity test had not got back until I had already been paying.
Wow.
So
And what did that paternity test? Was it a legal paternity test? Were you able then
it was
to turn around and not have to pay child support?
I definitely wasn't owed any child support or arrears or anything like that, but I could not get the money that I had given
Back.
back.
Okay.
Right.
So
Okay. But they did take you off because of the test.
yes.
So it
Well,
was a
it's
legal
not an
test.
active case. I would not say it's not
Okay.
on my file. Like if you, it's still there, but
But you
it's
don't have
not
to pay child
right.
support.
It's not an active case, and the fact that I did sign that child's birth certificate, the child is still mine.
Legally.
How would a service like ours have helped you at that time when you were going through what you were going through?
Well, it definitely would have took. I mean, it would have changed the scene automatic. 3 years, 3.5 years of my life was basically, it would have been changed had I known that child wasn't mine and that I could got instant results knowing that. So it would have saved me a lot of money, and it would have saved my family a lot of heartbreak. I
Makes you
want to
different.
say the fact that this testing is available now, because back when this was happening, there wasn't even ancestry.com. I don't think
Probably wasn't.
there wasn't any way of getting results fast, and besides the Mari number, Mari shows,
which is very exposing of your whole situation. So what we are able to offer for clients, and what came out of this, situation that we were aware of as a family back then, is the idea that now we want to help people in this situation, and we want to bring a solution, a fast, quick, accurate solution to this situation, so families don't have to go through what your family went through, becoming attached to a child, believing that it's your blood, getting on child support, doing what you're supposed to do, getting that extra boost in life, and then getting it taken away from you. So what we want to do is come in and give young folks that maybe have, in a paternity issue, have a question of paternity, the opportunity to take charge of the situation and get the results, get the answers quickly that you need.
Yes.
So with our services, what we would do is pull up on you when you have the child and go ahead and test you on site and get those results back to you in 3 to 4 days. So it doesn't take so long. And I think that this is the perfect thing that our community needs right now, because the last thing that you need is for someone to say that you have a child that's not yours.
Right.
And so thank you so much for coming on.
Yes,
Oh,
thank you
no
so
problem,
much.
no problem. Anytime,
Yeah.
I will show up anytime you call.
Last
Thank you.
question.
Yes.
How likely are you to tell your friends about the testing queens?
Oh, I'm definitely gonna tell everybody I know about the testing queens. I mean, there's so many opportunities that people haven't even tapped into with
Right.
this industry, and it's gonna be. I mean, it's gonna be amazing.
Thank you so much. And we appreciate it. We think it's going to be amazing too, because what we're doing here is we're solving problems that people have been having for
Definitely.
decades.
Yes.
And they had very minimal outlets to solve the problem. You either go to
Right.
social services and tell your
Right,
business, or you
right.
go on TV and tell your business.
Right.
So what we're going to do is pull up on you in an unmarked car.
Yep.
Everything is confidential. We
Everything.
sign an NDA with you, so nothing will be disclosed, and you have your answers within 3 to 4 days. And so, thank you so much for coming
Thank
on
you.
to our
Oh, you're
podcast.
welcome.
We are hoping that even though it may have looked like it was a bad situation, we're hoping that it still turned into a learning experience for you.
Oh,
Yes.
definitely a learning experience, and I would say the Doomsday Letter. It actually became better after the fact of it not being so much heartbreakful thing. It was actually
Yes.
a life changer to it. That
Yeah,
me knowing,
yeah.
hey, I got another chance at this. Maybe let's do something different this time.
Exactly.
Right.
It was definitely a process, but.
Wonderful. Thank
Well,
you for
thank you
coming.
so much.
Oh yes,
And
yes. You're welcome so much.
Yes, yes.
you guys at
Right.
home, please tune in. We have
Okay.
more special guests coming on to talk to you about paternity test. We got some wellness testing clients that we have coming on in the future to talk about what we have to offer as far as the healthy wellness test. And we'll also be getting into some of the drug testing in the future.
Yes.
So a lot coming from the testing queen. So stay tuned.
You're watching The Testing Queens.